Is anyone else sensing a disturbing pattern here, or is it just me? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a Florida teacher who's upset with the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, also known as the Parental Rights in Education bill, which, by the way, has now become law. It was signed off by Ron DeSantis. So as of, I guess, today or whenever it goes into effect, you are not allowed to teach children in Florida in grades K through 3 anything about sexuality or gender identity. If you go beyond the 3rd grade, there must be a specific reason and a good reason to include anything close to that. Now, a kindergarten teacher is saying, hey, this is not right because I can't tell my kindergarten class anything about my personal life. Okay, I'm married to this man over here and I can't tell them how our weekend went. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see the man in question on MSNBC talking about the whole situation. Then after we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what was said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Yeah, it's twofold. It really hits hard in my heart professionally and personally, both. Professionally, it truly makes me feel like I am not trusted as a professional. I know my kindergarten standards through and through, and nowhere in our curriculum does it have anything about teaching sexual orientation or sexual identity. So for them to say that's happening, it's kind of crazy. But we should be able to have discussions, and that's what we're encouraged to do in kindergarten. And then personally, because my kids do have questions. They want to know who my partner is in pictures outside of my classroom, and I should be able to speak to that.
So do you worry that you won't even be able to talk about your own personal home life? I mean, I have a child in kindergarten right now. I know exactly that my child has 2 teachers, one of which has a daughter at home and is single. The other is married and has 4 children. I know everything about their lives because my kid tells me.
Absolutely. You are 100% correct. That's what we do as educators. We build relationships with our kids. And in order to build relationships, you talk about your home life. You talk about what you do on the weekends. That's building community. It scares me to death that I am not going to be able to have these conversations with my children because they're going to ask me what I did on the weekend. I don't want to have to hide that my partner and I went paddleboarding this weekend because then they ask, well, what does partner mean, Mr. Bernard? And, I'm worried. Can I tell them what it means? I'm also worried for my kids. I have a little girl this year who has 2 moms, and the kids are curious about her 2 moms. They want to know about her 2 moms. If they go to her and ask her about her 2 moms and she doesn't know what to say, they're going to come to me and ask me. And then, so what do I do? It opens up for parents to really take some legal action against the schools and teachers. And
all right. So you saw that, you heard that. Now, sir, is that what are we gonna down that hill? I mean, you gotta tell your kindergarten kids about your personal life and your husband and whatnot. And if you must tell them about him, what are you really telling these kids? Are you being specific? I think you're being a little bit vague there, sir. You're talking about, oh, well, we went paddleboarding and I can't say that. Well, can you not say that? Or are you gonna talk about something else? Like your living arrangements, where you sleep and things of that nature. Are you going to be weird about it? Are you going to be creepy or what? There's ways to tell kids about what's going on in your personal life without being so descriptive, and you don't have to tell everything. Okay. You're not going to say everything that goes on. All right. If you were in some weird kind of club, and I won't get into what kind of club it is, but you guys use your imagination. You know what I'm talking about. If you're in this weird club with your partner and a bunch of other people, you understand? You tell them about that. Hey, Mr. Johnson, what were you doing last night? Meanwhile, you got something that you be blushing to tell any other adult about. You gonna tell a 5-year-old that? Huh? You're not gonna say everything. So why is it so hard to just control yourself and to not say everything? You can keep some things away from the kids. Why not more things? And it's not even about trying to hide the guy that you with or anything like that. If you got pictures on the wall, the dude and you and y'all hanging out, hey, Mr. Johnson, who was that? That's my friend. You know, that's a good buddy of mine from college. I was that in the third. I mean, really, because people say it's lying to kids, but that happens. You're not gonna tell kids everything. When I was a little boy, my uncle had a boyfriend, right? And after my uncle died, the boyfriend was still kind of around. With my grandmother, that's a whole different story. I'm talking about not that way. I mean, he was just like a friend to the family, basically. But I was never told this as a kid. I was never told, hey, that's your uncle that died, that's his boyfriend, and that's why he's really cool with us. That's why he's a friend to the family. I didn't learn that until I was grown. Until I was super grown. My dad told me just like randomly. I was like, oh, okay, that's who so-and-so is. I thought he was just a big friend to the family that everybody was cool with. I didn't know about the whole connection. Why? Because when I was around him at first, I'm a little boy. I'm like 2-3 years old. Why should I really know that? Okay, all that my family worried about was my safety. And the guy wasn't no creep or nothing like that. Obviously, he was a good friend of the family that everybody loved. But I don't need to know all that. Like how my uncle was in jail and they met. I don't need to know all that because I'm a little kid. Same thing with these kids in the kindergarten class. They don't need to know everything. Henceforth, the bill. You don't need to tell kids in kindergarten first. They don't need to know about all the sexuality stuff because they're too young to be able to understand it. When you introduce that to them, it's a way to kind of indoctrinate them. You kind of brainwash them from an early age. They think that it kind of makes sense to be that way because they got a friend in their class and like, hey, that's my friend too. So why can't we be like a mom and dad? Because, it doesn't make sense to say that, but to a little kid, that does make sense. So you got to be able to expose children to certain things when it's age appropriate to do so. Okay. I think, quite frankly, even some of these middle school, high school kids are exposed to way too much at an early age. They're going on their phone, finding all types of stuff they shouldn't be exposed to, and it warps their mind. So if a 15-year-old going on his phone, seeing all kind of stuff on Instagram and Twitter that he shouldn't be seeing adult content on social media, if that's kind of damaging, then imagine what telling a little boy about what you and your partner were doing at the age of 5. Like, to imagine what that does to that little kid who can't even really process that properly because his brain is not all the way developed the way it should be. So I don't know what's going on with that dude and his whole deal. But no, you shouldn't be telling your kids in the kindergarten class, not your kids, but your classroom. You shouldn't be telling these little kids about some stuff that doesn't really concern them, that they're too young to hear. And beyond that point about the guy and his boyfriend or whatever, beyond that point, the bill is not necessarily about that particularly. Okay, it's about the curriculum teaching these children about all kind of LGBTQ elemental P stuff. And the guy's saying, oh, that's not really there in curriculum. Okay, well, if it's not there in curriculum, then what you got to worry about? What do you got to worry about? If you're not teaching that, then you straight then, right? If it don't apply, let it fly. If you have a curriculum that's devoid of LGBTQ conversations, then that's fantastic. You're doing right already. You're already in compliance. You don't need to do much else. But what you should do is keep all your personal business to yourself. Okay? Whatever y'all do in the bed, that's your business. And whatever kind of situation y'all got going on, that's between y'all. Okay? What's a 5-year-old gonna know about a domestic partner and things, gay marriage? What are they gonna know about that? All they know is I got a mommy and daddy, and I see daddy kiss mommy. That's all I see. You know what I mean? When they about to go to work, little smooch when they about to go out the door, that's all they really see. They don't really see all this extra stuff that you got going on with your significant other. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this teacher and what he said on MS-13 DNC? Did he make sense? Did he not make sense? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is a prime example of why this bill, now law, is necessary to keep children protected away from this kind of ideology, from this brainwashing. The guy wanted to come off all innocent and acting like, oh, well, no, I'm telling my kids about my life and what I got going on and who's that in the picture on the wall. He comes off as innocent, but really there's a deeper thing going on here. There's a bigger narrative happening here. I said it once and twice and 3 times. I'll say it one more time. There was a poll from Newsweek that says 40% of Gen Z identify as LGBTQ. Now, this is way too much because in reality, probably about 5% or less of the world population is LGBT. So how do we have 40% of a particular generation group in the US identifying as LGBT? It's because of early indoctrination, early brainwashing. A lot of these kids are just confused. They're confused. You can't have these little kids identify as a thing that they can't really understand yet, but they kind of get into that world of thinking it's okay. Like, it'd be a little boy playing with a Barbie set, and then he gets told, oh, you like Barbies, you must be queer or trans or something like that. And he starts to kind of identify with it, although in reality, he was just a boy that was just saw a toy and went to play with it just because. Does that mean he's somehow gay? But when he hears that and he's told that, and that's kind of pushed on him, he may go that direction because of the brainwash, not because he was already like that when he was born. Okay, people have changed their sexual preference or whatever. They might go to jail. They might just, I don't know, have a revelation or whatever it is. And sometimes there are things that trigger that beyond just whatever they had internally and nothing else. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.